wars and all that. So there's always a lot of reasons. So it's what I'll call a moving target. And the sectors are across, as you'll know, because our economy is it's diverse, and we can give specifics when we have that. Unless Sipho has that, he can, but I doubt if he has it with him now. But we will definitely give that. Mr. Silepe, you say we mentioned Africa more than 5 times. Yes, because Gauteng is the 7th biggest economy in Africa. So meaning that if Gauteng was a country, out of the 54 African countries that are there, Gauteng would be number 7 if it was a country. So it is not a country, it's just a province. But it shows you the strategic nature of Gauteng as a province. And because Gauteng as a province is strategic, it means it has to have an appreciation and understand the magnitude of the task that it is facing. The president said we must grow the economy at 3%. Yeah. The projections by National Treasury say Gauteng will grow at 2%, I think, by next year or so. You will never get to 3% if Gauteng is not growing at 3%. This is the biggest economy. So you can have any of the provinces growing at 3%, but that is not as huge as Gauteng. So mentioning Africa, I know that we understand that our economy is not in isolation. Our economy is tied to that of other provinces. Our economy is part of the South African economy, which is tied to SADC, other regions, the continent, and the world. And that's why one of the messages of support tomorrow will be coming from a global company, the CEO of Ford. As you know, they've been here for 101 years. We are, I think, the only country in the province. I mean, sorry, yes, in the continent, if I'm not mistaken, that produces Ford Ranger, and we export to many other countries. We are one of the 2 countries, it's us and Egypt, who produces Nissan. So you can go on and on about the global character of the Gauteng economy. So when you speak Gauteng economy, you can't not have an appreciation of the interconnectedness and the embeddedness of this economy into the continental and global economy. So it is for that reason, and that's why it's very important that we don't forget that. Mr. Ndate Paul, well, you say how many countries? I don't know, but we've got different ambassadors and consul generals, and people are still registering. I think by yesterday we would have had about 176 people who had confirmed, but it's different. We have about, someone was asking about the capacity. I think it's you. This place takes about, the main hall, about 400 people. We have about 500 people who have confirmed. That's why we've got an overflow area, because not everyone will be in that hall. But we had anticipated, because of the strategic nature of Gauteng, that the interest will be huge throughout the world. And that's why we have a hybrid. On hybrid, there's 400 people who have already confirmed. So it's a conference of 900 people confirmed already. But even by yesterday, we were having people still inquiring and asking for accreditation and all that. And that's why we would like to encourage those who have not been accredited to join us virtually. Because even the group discussions, as you can see, if you go into our website, look at the quality of the speakers, their credentials. Because post this conference, we will have a report. We are working with one of the universities, GIPS. They will be putting together, working with us, because the Premier, tomorrow, when he speaks, it's a question I think linked to what Naledi has raised. You know, when the Premier speaks tomorrow, he's going to give you a sense of what is the economic plan of Gauteng. So if you ask us, do you have a plan? We do have a plan. What is our plan? The Premier is articulating it tomorrow. And that plan we are consulting further tomorrow, because we've been consulting with different sectors before we got to tomorrow. It has been a lot of work. Initially, we wanted to have this in November. We wanted it to have it in February, but we were not satisfied with the amount of work we did. We've met with the business chambers, which represents different countries. You've got the German Chamber of Business, Indian Chamber of Business, Spanish Chamber of Business. We have met with consul generals. We have met with a lot of people. But apart from that, you will remember that we went to Davos, and a lot of people were asking, what does a province want in Davos? Well, even the president was surprised to see a province. But because of what I articulated earlier on, the global character of the Gauteng economy must never be missed. We will go back to Davos next year. We went to the mining in Daba. We went to many others just to interact. We went to firms at the firm level to interact, mobilizing. So this is a lot of work. The work to mobilize for next year's investment conference starts when this one ends. We will announce the date because we want predictability. We want people to know that beginning of April is the beginning of the financial year. It's beginning of good things. We must be in Gauteng. That's what must happen. As the media, you don't have to be asking, are you continuing next year? You're not continuing. You know, we've got, for instance, there's a Netflix delegation, for instance, from their head office. We are coming, and they told me, no, we are coming, we need a meeting with the MEC of Arts and Culture, this and that, another. I didn't know. There's the CEO of a French company who will be in one of the panels and all that. So I'm just showing you that we might not even know about others. I know of these because we've got a constant communication with them. We've got an established relationship with them. So there might be others, and that's why we've decided that post we will do a mini economic impact assessment just of Melrose Arch. And as you correctly say, Melrose Arch is very small. You would have expected us to go to Santin Convention and all that. Why? This is an inaugural year. It's the first one. So you must firstly check if this the product, if the product makes sense to the market, and if the market welcomes it, if there's appetite, and with what we've seen and what we'll be announcing tomorrow, we've seen this huge appetite, and that's why we want to run this properly, professionally, and it must be structured as well. We're not going to leave it to chance. So, Naledi, value of town
Tourism.
of tourism. No, yeah. Well, I've dealt with that issue now, which I've said we will. It will be there, but I mean we don't want to also create an impression like there's going to be 1,000 people from all over the world. It might be 50 or 80, but remember this is inaugural. We came into office in July or so as government. We made this announcement in August. So to organize a conference of this magnitude takes a lot of time. Davos, if you know there, and we were in Davos, we had to stay 25 kilometers away. Some of you saw us, you thought we were staying some nice way in the periphery, because in Davos, it would have cost you about 100,000 rands per room, the size of Formula One. Those who know Formula One. And I don't know why you are laughing. So that's how packed it is. And that's why it takes so much time. We're sitting with CEOs of the banks there, small rooms, CEOs of big banks, because they couldn't afford to pay 100,000 a night per room. So we will get to that point, because this is not just about the pledges. We hope that next year, some of the pledges that are made, next year we'll be signing deals. In the next year's conference, there should be deals that are signed. There are already people who have asked for meetings with MECs, with HODs. We're going to have that here, even in the Gulf. So Naledi, they are great. There is a great value there. And what is the target? Our target, we said, in the next 3 to 5 years, we want to raise 800 billion for the Gauteng economy. What we are saying in essence is that we want to significantly increase the size of the Gauteng economy, because the size of the Gauteng economy currently is about 1.1 plus trillion. So we want to almost double that. That's a huge task. And if we were to do that and succeed, it will go a long way in contributing towards economic growth in the country and all that. So for this financial year, or rather the inaugural conference, we are aiming for 300 billion on pledges. We have said that, and we hope we will achieve it. We will also be opening, though there has been pre-pledges, because we had a platform, a digitized platform where people pledged. So though there's been pre-pledges, we have a sense who has pledged, which sector, how many companies, and all that. For instance, I can tell you that almost about, I think 58 companies or so that have pledged. And we will tell you the figures tomorrow and what are the sectors. But we also have projects that are government projects, about 111 government. So we've got a Gauteng government project book. Anyone who wants to invest in Gauteng, and you are in water, for instance, and you want to build a water treatment plant, you will know where to go, which in a municipality to. So it's also about creating a conducive environment and predictability for the investors, because investors don't want unstable environment. They don't want where there's no predictability. There's many other issues then, like crime. How do you make sure that there's, and remember in the State of the Province address, the Premier spoke about the 13 problems of Gauteng. Crime is one of them. Energy security is another. And you can go on and on. That's why that which the Premier said seeks to reinforce or to be reinforced by the efforts we are putting in place and making sure that we grow the Gauteng economy. And that's why the budget which we presented was able to put numbers to the issues that the Premier would have raised. In conclusion, I hope Naledi and the dispersing is not so much, and I think it's a very important question, because people might think that when we say there's 300 and whatever or 400 billion, they might think the government has received 400 billion from the investors. No, we're not going to be receiving any money as government. What it means, this is why I was giving an example about this company, which is a manufacturing. They are putting their money to build a factory. It's their money. But there are things they might need from us. They might say there's crime, can you please make sure you put cameras, police visibility, this and that. We will do the things that government has to do to create a conducive environment, but we're not dispersing anything. And then you will also have a situation where some of them, they want things like land from government. To say, no, can you give us land? We are putting money for this or that. So it's not necessarily about where, or some of them have even decided where they want to go. We made a company that is pledging 2.5 billion with the Premier. It was on a Sunday. We met at the Four Ways, and we told them we've got an industrial zone, the SEZ in OR Tambo, and we are spending 400 million to put bulk infrastructure. We were with the world chairman, the global chairman of that company. And then he said, let's go, I want to see that land. We drove in the cars, we went there, we showed him, he said, I'm taking it. I'm taking, it's 25 square meters? No, hectares. Yeah, hectares.
That level is hectares.
So a 25 square meter is equivalent to maybe this room. So it's 25 hectares. So he says, no, we're taking this thing. Then his representative, the following day, he calls me, when are we meeting? We want to sign. We made them meet the CEO of GGDA. They've sent an email. These people are serious. They're putting a big factory that will employ people in that part. So these things are not some ideas in our heads. It's not imaginations. It's things that are there, but private sector is saying, we've got problems and there's delays, and all we want is you government to open up. That's why post the investment conference, it's important. We will have a session like this. How are we going to ensure that we realize the objective number one, which is inclusive economy and job creation and all that. And then there are a lot of many other things that we will be doing, including making sure that we deal with crime, making sure that you deal with potholes, where robots must work and all that. We have put 9 billion to the Department of Transport in Gauteng, and we said part of it must deal with those potholes, must deal with robots in the provincially owned intersections and all that. So it's a lot of work, and it's vast. Let me put it that way. It's vast, and it's comprehensive. Yeah, I took long because I was trying to answer some of the questions that you want to ask.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, MEC. Let me just quickly, MEC, I've not heard you, but let me take you through to some of the questions that are online. The first question is that how will the conference address investor uncertainty in terms of investing in big projects in niche areas. This is related to your construction mafias as well as community unrest. That is normally there. So that's the first question. The second question from the SABC Africa: what is the involvement of black investors and black business owners at the conference? And the last one is that what is the role of black-owned media in the conference? So just note those ones. Let me see. Can I then take the second round? It's yourself, Puti. It will be a follow-up. No? Okay. Is there any other one? All right. Then there'll be two. Okay, Paul, you want to come back? Okay. So let's just deal with yourself, then the two follow-ups. And then you can just wrap it up for all of us, MEC.
Colin Hans from Josie FM and Josie Captions. MEC, this takes me back to the time we were hosting the World Cup. 2 weeks before, the delegation from FIFA was worried that there is no publicity. There's nothing that shows that South Africa is hosting something of this magnitude. So, as this thing starts tomorrow, nothing tells us anything. Whether you're on the freeway, billboards, PR exercise, it's like it's a futile exercise. Or maybe it's a case of cash trap, Gauteng.
No, that's fine. You're about to get me fired. But let's proceed. Paul, come in.
Thank you, MEC. Again, it's Paul here. Just a quick one. In terms of the security around the area, can you take us through the security nature here?
All right. Just the last one, yourself, Nicholas.
I'm sorry, MEC, again. I just wanted to double check. There's been talk about Elon Musk's contestations that the BEE laws are anti-investment. And have you looked at that, or did you experience any challenges with that from the current crop of investors that you have spoken to? Have they raised the question of BEE, the 30% that they have to give to black companies? Thanks.
Okay. MEC?
Yeah, I thought I tried to anticipate everyone. But anyway, the construction mafia, corruption, 30% and all that, we are dealing with that. You know that we've got 11,000 traffic wardens that we have employed, despite the fact that crime fighting is not the competence of the province in terms of the law. That's why in the Western Cape, they continue arguing, devolve the powers, this and that. And it's not about devolving the powers, it's about how you utilize and deploy your resources. And in this case, we are not fighting for any powers. We are saying this is how we devolve our resources. We increased our budget of community safety from about 600, 700 million to about 2.3 billion. Because, as I'm saying, it's about how you use your resources and how you deploy them. We have acquired about 2 helicopters. When you talk to our guys here from community safety, they'll give you stats. How many cash in transit heists we have been able to foil since we bought those? How many wanted criminals we have been able. So we're not talking about what we are going to do. We're talking about what is happening already. If you look at the stats that the Minister of Police gave last time, the crime is going down to Gauteng. It doesn't mean there's no crime, but it shows that there is progress that is being made. So we're not even talking about what we envisage to do. And we have, from that, those traffic wardens, we are establishing a dedicated team that the Premier will announce soon. One that will deal with land invasion, and another that will deal with this 30% and all that. In fact, the 30% brigade, and in this context I'm using it, in the context of those who don't deserve it,
Illegality.
who are doing illegal things. That is why I call them the 30% brigade. They are on the back foot. There's been a lot of, and I think community safety can give you all those, and maybe that's one of the things we should have done was to call them to give you these stats. In fact, tomorrow, when you are here, they will be here. All departments will be here. If you want to know about traffic robots, if indeed we are going to fix, what are the timelines, when are we going to start, the MEC of Transport and Roads will be here. If you want to know about health issues, all the MECs will be here tomorrow. So you will be able, our media team, you must liaise with them so that you also don't ambush the MEC and then do something like what my brother is doing, Colin, asking an irrelevant question, but we'll answer it. We'll answer it. So the issue of what is the role of black investors, what is good about this investment conference is that we don't choose who must invest. People decide. And that's why there was a link. And a lot of companies, some of them might have majority white owned or majority international, conglomerates, but they've got black partners here and all that. So the black investors as well, because it's not just about international, by the way. We've got local investors. So this is not just for international, and that's why the focus was not only that. It's both local and international, and I think that's what is important. And the role of black media, that's why we've got everyone here, and that's why we are live streaming. Because it's not about who has access, who has data, who does not have data, or everybody. We're live streaming this thing. It's live streamed on all our platforms, and people are able to follow us. So if you decide that we are not going to cover them as SABC, we are covered already. So you might be lagging behind. So you can either beat them or join them. So those who are not here, because unfortunately we are competing with the budget today. We understand, Ediamo. We understand. We're competing with the budget, whether it's being voted or not. People are worried about that, and we understand. But for us, more than anything else, was just to give everyone comfort that we are ready and we are committed about this course, and to also show consistency. Remember, the Premier spoke about this thing in the State of the Province address. We made follow-up, and people often attack us when we don't succeed in this or that area. But when we succeed, people don't acknowledge that. And I think this is one such time. And then, you see, Colin, this is not an imbizo. You see, in an imbizo, you want a lot of people, so you must advertise all over and all that. And because, Colin, you don't travel a lot. Because if you're traveling a lot, you would have known and you would have seen at the airports, the international airports, where the investors travel so that they see. So it's about those who have done marketing, what do you call segmented, yes, target. So we can't get a Alexandra advertiser. But we Alexandra, when you can conference, but so that's why it's segmented. But anyway, how can I call it drive? Just turn right and then just check. You'll see billboards on the poles, on all that. So the publicity is targeted. I mean, how can Gauteng be cash strapped? I've just presented a 171 billion rand budget. Did you see that? And then I said in the next 3 years, we've got 573 billion. How can you be cash strapped? It's not possible. So that's why I was saying, Colin, you must travel a lot. And we must take you with when we travel. Tourism. We need to organize an excursion. So we basically, when we grow up, Tina, we used to say we are going on a trip. So they go on an excursion. So CEO GTA, we need an excursion for our journalists. Sifake ku budget, sihambe sibambise. Do you agree, Colin? Yes, yeah, I agree. So, Paul, security around the area, you know, well, there will be security, it's fine. But I don't think it's right for us as government that every time we host events, we must prepare, you know, security must be beefed up. Security has to be permanently visible. It must be good and all that. And that's why I didn't touch the issue of security and all that. Because if you are securing this perimeter only, what about 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers from here and all that? I'm not undermining the fact that it is important, but I'm making a point that our long-term strategy is about making every citizen in Gauteng to feel safe. Ultimately. Well, the BE issue, and then just yesterday I was talking to one of the international investors, Chinese. They don't have a problem with BE. Most of them, their concern is maybe how it's implemented, the mechanics of them, you know. So it's not, they don't have a problem in principle. Most of the, and we will not budge on that because that's our policy. And when you look at our constitution, we are talking about affirming and dealing with the imbalances of the past. So it's in the constitution, the spirit and the letter of the constitution. So if you were to change B and all that, you'll have to change the constitution of the republic. So it doesn't arise, and it can't be that because there's somebody who feels that they are too powerful and therefore they want to come and there you must change your policies. It doesn't work like that. The question that we must ask is whether this policy has been effective or not. The Black Management Forum youth has invited me, and they've identified a very interesting topic. They want me to take stock of transformation since '94. So they say they want to have a discussion with me. I saw, their event, and it's a very important because these are some of the issues. Remember, there's been issues that this BEE, by the way, only benefits the connected, only benefits few people, and it does not reach out to the overwhelming majority. The transformation of the economy, the overwhelming majority of the people are still living in poverty, are still living in the periphery of economic centers. The economy is still in the hands of very few, predominantly white males. We don't talk much about that. We want to focus on the 30 years only. And perhaps it is important because what have we done in that 30 years to change this situation? You might have few people who graduated to be in the middle class because they just qualified to get a credit card, a bond, and a debt for the car, and they live in a vicious cycle of debt, and they are just around here in Melrose. So that discussion has to take place and shape. Here we brought people who will be able to also probe such questions, and that's why we would encourage you to participate in the group discussions and ask these questions further Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you very much, MEC, and thanks to you as well as the leadership of DD, HOD, CEOs. And let me also thank you, colleagues, really for making time to cover this event. Let's just make sure that we do get our accreditation today, preferably, because I can assure you by 8:30 the event will be starting. And Baba, you. Oh, tonight you are invited to the opening of the curated market. So there will be a market here, starting at 6:30, correct, Baba? So it will be at 6:30, at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock here at Melrose. Okay. So you want me to announce that there's food after this? Okay. There it is, colleagues. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.